Good day, Las Vegas, and welcome back to Vegas Vibes, giving you a peek at what's groovin' and brewin' in the music, pageantry, live production, and fascinating scenes in the city that never sleeps. And I'm your host, Esmeralda Padilla-Gould. I would like to thank the avid viewers of Vegas Vibes on Vegas Live TV, ACTV, WCTV, and BingeNetworks.tv, especially those watching on my favorite devices, Roku, Kodi, and Amazon Fire TV, and of course in my very own website, VegasVibes.us. Please continue to support my show and tell your friends to like Vegas Vibes on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. The Vegas Vibes moment we've been waiting for has arrived. Las Vegas is halfway open, which means the music, pageantry, and live production scenes in the entertainment capital of the world will slowly, surely, but safely welcome locals and visitors to its newly upgraded and sanitized venues and facilities, employing long sideline artists, performers, and highly skilled workers. This is indeed the beginning of the end of the pandemic. All glory to God. When Vegas Vibes returns, I'll let you in on one of the most controversial events that happened right here in Las Vegas in the mid-90s. The unsolved murder of one of the biggest names in the music industry, Tupac, the rapper, so don't go away. Welcome back! Las Vegas remains to host the best and the biggest resorts in the globe, and some of the best entertainers in the world live right here in this great city. It's bursting in the scenes with creative juices, and those mega live productions can't forever be parked in the shade. So now that the million of Americans have already been vaccinated, Vegas is expecting at least half of the 43 million visitors it had in 2019 before the pandemic. So buckle up, my friends, as we go on cruise control. On September 7, 1996, Tupac Shakur, simply known as Tupac, considered as one of the most influential rappers of all time, was shot to death in the streets of Las Vegas. To this day, this gruesome murder has remained unsolved. No one knew for sure who fired 14 shots. 4 of those shots entered Tupac's body, and one of them proved to be fatal. Fast forward to April 2013, Big Frank Alexander, the former close-in bodyguard of Tupac, who was present during Tupac's murder in Las Vegas, was shot in the head, believed by many to be an act of suicide. Big Frank knows so much about Tupac, even the celebrity woman his former boss and buddy slept with. Was it really suicide, or was it to protect his wife, or was it PTSD? Well, our guest today will shed some light plus more about what may have happened to Tupac and to Big Frank, Tupac's former bodyguard. From no less than the wife of Big Frank, Miss Deborah Alexander. Don't miss a heartbeat. Stand by for my interview with Miss Alexander when Vegas Vibes return. Welcome back to Vegas Vibes. On Vegas Vibes, I feature amazingly talented people from many walks of life who contribute to making Las Vegas a unique global brand. And on that note, with us today, she is an author of the book, The Private Life of Big Frank, and widow of the late Frank Alexander. Frank was the bodyguard of the late rap icon Tupac Shakur. In her book, she takes you on her painful journey through her husband's untimely death and her battle with post-traumatic stress disorder. Thank you so much for being with us here today, Miss Deborah Alexander.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
It's such a pleasure to finally have you on our show, and you have a very, a very traumatic life.
I did, yes. I got to witness my husband take his life in front of me.
But please, your book describes your painful journey through a turbulent time. Can you tell us how other people suffering from the trauma of going through losing a loved one can cope with such a loss?
Well, my book kind of tells my story of my struggle and what I dealt with and how I persevered through this whole thing. And I didn't think I would make it. I thought I would crumble, and there were many times where I was so blessed to have a lot of good people in my life and have God in my life, which helped me get through this whole thing. So I hope to help people by writing this book and getting it out there to show them that there is hope and that you can You can persevere, and even though you think you can't, and you're not going to be able to get up in the morning, and you can't get dressed, and you can't eat, and you don't want to live, you got to not think that. You got to just get back up, and you got to go, and you got to do it, because you can. Look where I am. 8 years ago, April 28th, my husband took his life in front of me. In a million years, I never thought that would happen, but he did. And I had to make a decision, was I going to climb or was I going to crawl? And my book talks about that in my story.
It's so it's hard to comprehend how you were able to cope with that. But what are the steps that you had to go through, and then finally what inspired you to write about your story?
Well, I went to a lot of counseling. I did go to suicide convention that helped you understand what suicide was. Suicide is a hard thing to understand because as humans, we are designed to figure out a situation. But when someone takes their life, you can't figure it out. It's always, why did he do that? Or why did she do that? Or why did this happen? So I constantly kept asking my question, why? So when I went to suicide meetings, I found out that that was normal to have that. And then, of course, I went to counseling. I went to psychiatrists. I took medication. I did a lot of different things to try to find it. But then my therapist told me, my grief therapist, Corrine, said, why don't you write a book? So I started to think, So I started putting my feelings in the book, how I felt. And then I thought, this is going to help me because I'm going to help others. So that's right, I did do the book.
I'm sure it wasn't so easy for you to write the book and talk about what happened.
You have no idea, because I had to dig up and relive and pull those scabs off that were trying to heal, because the scabs, they were deep and they're still there. I had a pain inside of me, and I still do struggle with it, that cries for mercy. It hurts so bad.
Did you ever figure out why Frank did it?
You know, there's a lot of theories and there's a lot of questions. And I got on the internet and I read people's comments. It's crazy. I personally don't know why Frankie did that. He loved God. I do know that only he could answer that question, you know. And I'm sure he had a good reason why he did it, because he was that kind of person, you know. He was just an amazing man.
Yeah, you describe him as a very magnificent human being.
Oh, yes, magnificent man. Everything he did, and he just loved people. You would have loved him. You would say to him, hey, Frank, how you doing today? He would walk up to you and he would say, I'm blessed and I'm highly favored. And he would hug you. And he was just a magnificent human being, and he made me the woman I am today.
That's wonderful. He was also a professional bodybuilder for
He was.
Mr. World.
He was.
He was a cowboy. They had a ranch in California.
Yes.
He had a horse named Goliath.
Yes.
He was a Marine.
Yes.
Served in for 11 years until he hurt his knee and
Yes.
had a honorable discharge.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, he was a pro bodybuilder, Mr. World. Everything Frankie did, he did to perfection. Everything
An
he
achiever.
did. An achiever. If it was, he step on it, it would turn to gold.
Wow.
Because that's just how he was. And I was very blessed to have him in my life as long as I did have him in my life. So
How did you meet him?
I met Frank at LA Fitness. I operated LA Fitness. I was an operations manager for many, many years. And he would come in and he would bring me food. And I'm like, oh my gosh, would he just leave me alone? And he would like, hey, you want to go out? I'm like, nah, I don't want to go out. And I thought, oh, this guy's a player, right? And so one day he walks in and he has this shirt on. It says, God's property. And of course I was a Christian. And I knew nothing about Tupac. I was like into Western music, right? And he goes, hey, I was Tupac's bodyguard. And I'm like, so I don't know who that is, you know? And so he started talking to me. He goes, hey, you want to go to my ranch? And I'm like, a ranch? You have a ranch? And I thought, man, this guy's a Christian. Oh, God's property, okay. So I went to his ranch and I lunged his horse. And I remember what he said to his friend. He was always so confident in what he did. He said, that's going to be my new ex-wife. I like, you're crazy. But you know what? I married him 3 months later. And the funny thing about that whole story is I told God, I said, God, because I hadn't been married before. I told God, I said, you know, God, if I get married again, will you have, I want to make sure it lasts forever. So make sure, God, this is my secret between you and me. Let him ask me on horseback ride when we're riding horses. And I didn't know it was going to be Frank. And let him ask me before I turn 40. Frank asked me to get married on horseback. And he asked me before I turned 40. I turned 40 in September and we went and got married in June.
June 16th,
June
on Tupac's birthday.
On Tupac's birthday.
Wow.
And so that's why I'm finishing my story here in Las Vegas. I wrote my story in Las Vegas so I could finish my journey, because I married my husband at the Little White Chapel in 2001. So my journey is going to finish here and help other people who struggle with PTSD, but also tell this magnificent story about this magnificent man that I got to be blessed with.
I want to learn more about that when we come back. Don't go away. Vegas Vibes will be right back. Welcome back to Vegas Vibes. We're still here with Miss Deborah Alexander, and we're talking about her. She had God has given her the sign that she has been asking for, so it was like an answered prayer.
Yeah, he asked me on horseback, like we had said, and so I did marry him, and my journey began. And we went to Las Vegas, we got married, we came home, and my journey began as his wife. It was quite a different kind of life for me, because he was in the world of rap, and he wasn't anymore. He had gave his life to God, but still, those things follow you.
Yeah, he was on the 700 Club.
He was on the 700 Club. 333 people gave their lives to Christ that day. I actually tattooed that on me, because anytime anything happens, I see the number 333, and I know that he's with me. Wow. I'm telling you what happens. It's not wait, now you're going to see the number 333. No. Because you're a part of it.
Yes. But please, what do you have there? You have the introduction on your book?
I do. I have the introduction of my book, the first chapter. It's called The and the reason she's called The is because she's inside of me now, and I've learned how to bridle her. She is PTSD. A lot of people struggle with PTSD, and I hope to be able to help others and need to relate with this feeling that I am going to express to you guys as I read the first chapter of my book. She's called The There is a dragon inside me. She is big, she is hot, and she is nasty. She is fierce and she spits fire. Her head is covered in scales. She's got green eyes and 2 huge horns that twist around her skull. Her teeth are so like jagged razors, so sharp if given the chance, they would scrape the skin right off my bones. She comes on me when I am tired, when I'm sleepy, and when I'm restless. When I feel her coming up, I grab my sword and my shield, and it takes all the strength I have to keep her down. And even though she's chained, she finds a way to come at me with her hissing and snorting and snarling breath, so hot that it singes the edge of my face. Then comes the pressure of her scraping and scratching to get out. She claws at my throat, and she pulls herself up through my chest. Her name is, and she is not very nice. She came to live inside me the day I almost crumbled, at 5:10 p.m. on Sunday, April 28, 2013, the day my husband, Frank Alexander, took his life in front of me. Frank, as they called him, or Big Frank to the rest of the world, worked for Death Row Records. He was an assigned exclusive bodyguard to Tupac Shakur, who many consider the greatest hip-hop artist of all times. Frankie was there the night that Tupac was shot in Las Vegas. Those facts of that night are well documented in books, movies, documentaries, and police reports, and newspaper articles. This story is not about the murder of Tupac Shakur. This story is my story, the private life of Big Frank, my husband.
That sounds pretty intense, and I can still feel your pain even after 8 years.
Yeah, and no, I've learned to, like I said, I've learned to put a studded leather halter around this dragon who lives inside me, because she does still kind of come out. She's something I have to learn to live with now. She will be with me for the rest of my life, but either I'm going to get along with her or I'm going to let me crumble. And I choose not to let her let me crumble.
Right, you have to build that inner strength.
Yes, yes, and this is to let other people know that they can overcome this. It will always still be a part of them, but they can overcome it.
I feel emotional all of a sudden because I really feel your pain.
My pain is so deep that it cries for mercy.
If there's anything that you wanted to, probably I should say, if you could have another chance to speak to your late husband, what would you tell him? That's funny
because I always tell God that. I say, God, can you just come down for one day so I could talk to him? And one day I said that, and then this all of a sudden, this hummingbird came and flew around me and just stood there. And then it flew around me and it stood there. Then it went straight up into heaven. I said, oh, well, I guess I was Frank. Well, what would I say to him? I would tell him I love him. And I wouldn't take 1 minute for granted. Because that's what we do. We need to tell the people in our lives how much we love them. And we need to look at the homeless and all the people that struggle. And we need to say a nice thing to somebody because we don't know what that person is going through. I would tell him I love him.
Is it okay for you to share with us, take us back to that moment?
I will. I've told so many people, my therapist, the day my husband took his life was changed my life forever. He came home from the movies. And I was so happy to see him, like a little girl happy to see their daddy. Oh, he's home, he's home. So he went downstairs, he had a little man cave, and next door was his office, and he had his gun case in there. He went into his gun case, and he got his guns out. And I was talking to him this close, never once thought he was gonna do anything like that. He had lots of guns. He always got them out. He always played with them. I'm talking to him just like I'm talking to you. And he pulled his gun out, and it was the gun he got from the Marine Corps when he was discharged. When he pulled his gun out, didn't realize he was putting the bullet in the chamber. And he pointed it at me. And I never once thought anything about that. Because he always said, never point a gun at someone without you intend on using it. Maybe for a second he thought about it. I don't know. That was his decision. But then he put the gun to his head and he went bang.
Oh gosh.
And I looked at him and I'm still talking to him because I'm thinking he's playing, because I didn't hear the gun. Everything just, PTSD just hit me. It was a mess. He used the hollow point. Yeah, he used the hollow point. And his hand never moved. I ran out. I ran back in. I said, get up, get up, get up. Stop messing around. And I smelled gunpowder. I couldn't see a lot of things. I couldn't see the mass. I couldn't see a lot because that's when PTSD hit. When trauma hits things, God has a way of covering it so you can't remember. So I didn't remember a lot of that. And I do know that there were angels in that room that day because I remember when he fell. When he fell, it was like something caught him and just laid him on the ground. That's why I thought he was faking it, because he just kind of fell like he wasn't really falling. And when I ran back in, I said, get up, get up.
Then you realized.
Then I smelled gunpowder. And then I went into like flight mode and I grabbed the phone, I dialed 911, and I don't remember anything. It was bad. Everybody came.
I'm so sorry.
And then all the internet stuff and people and other people coming and saying things that wasn't true. And I was already dying inside, you know. But that's just the way it is, I guess, when people die.
So there was no inkling of why he would do that?
Never in a million years would I think he would do that. We had a beautiful ranch. We had cars. We were very blessed.
Well, if there's anything that you would like to tell everyone going through post-traumatic stress disorder, what would it be?
There is hope. Sometimes there doesn't feel like there's hope, and I know that you don't want to make it. Sometimes you just don't want to live. I know that feeling too, but you can't give up. You have to persevere because there's people who love you and people that want to help you. And if you need to talk to someone, call them for coffee. I know you don't want to hear, I didn't want to hear people solve my problems because they couldn't solve my problem. I just wanted to talk to them. So if you have people out there that are suffering with that, you need to listen to them and not tell them how to fix it. Just listen to them. That means a lot to us.
I could hear the siren. I think that's also a sign from God. Big Frank is smiling.
Yeah.
From heaven.
Yeah.
And
he's with me all the time. I find certain things. This is his bodybuilding chain. He wore this. This was his. So I wear it all the time. And did you see the movie Ghost?
Yes, I have.
I was getting out of the shower and this fell off, and it never fell off. And,
oh, that's beautiful.
And it wasn't.
That was Frankie.
It wasn't broken or nothing. And I told my daughter, I said, oh my gosh, it broke. I got to get it fixed. I can't not wear it. And she goes, it's not broken. It was Frank telling me, Deborah. He always called me Deborah. I would know his voice in a million years. Deborah. And I heard him just like, Deborah, go to the movies. So I know he wants me to keep living and helping others.
And shed light on really what happened.
And shed light on what happened and help others with their situations that they deal with in life.
Ms. Deborah, please invite everyone. When could they get hold of your book?
My book is going to be out in June. It's looking like the beginning of June. It'll be in Books and Noble. It'll be Barnes & Noble, I believe. And it'll be on Amazon. It'll be on Kindle. And there'll be some other places that I'll be distributing it, but I will let you know when I find out what's going on. It's in the process of being printed right now.
And where can people find you? Please invite them.
Right now, I'm not, this is my first interview, and of course with you.
Thank you so much, Esmeralda.
And I'm not, it took me 8 years to do this. 5 years, I decided I was going to write a book. And then, of course, people encouraging me to do it. Right now, I'm not having a place to give any information on that, but I will in the future. If you would like, I can touch base, and if people call in or ask, I will let you know that. But for right now, I'm not at that point. Just wanted to share about Frankie and how magnificent he was, and let people know what happened.
Well, I believe you're doing such a wonderful thing. It would spread inspiration to everyone who is going through the same traumatic stress.
Thank you.
And I wish you all the best. And
Thank you.
God bless.
God bless you. Peace.
Catch me again next week as I feature another amazing personality here on Vegas Vibes. Welcome back. Time really flies when you're having a grand time. Promise to join me again next week on the same fabulous Vegas Vibes channel. And to all our global viewers out there, let me remind you that Las Vegas is not just about the world-renowned strip or the famous Fremont Street experience in the vibrant downtown district. It has real people. A lot of them, musicians, live entertainers, and those involved in the world of pageantry, and to the people here in the Valley who work hard each day to make Las Vegas a global brand. I would like to feature you and your cool story right here in Vegas Vibes, either in the studios or online via Zoom. If you believe that's you, please email me now at vegasvibes1@gmail.com. Before I go, I would like to thank my order sponsor, Anne Fontaine, located at the Forum Shops of Caesars Palace. Anne Fontaine is now open for business as well. You may call Ms. Anna Billings at 702-733-6205 to make an appointment. And now for my favorite segment, the Vegas Vibes Closet. Yes, it features an intricate selection of health and beauty products which I personally use. And this week I have for you Peptide 4 Antioxidant Hydro Serum. Tackle dehydrated and tired looking skin with this antioxidant serum. This lightweight serum enhances the skin's own natural defense against the dulling effects of everyday pollutants. The ultra-light formula is enriched with hydrochloric acid and honesty seed oil to intensely hydrate while softening the look of lines and wrinkles, leaving skin feeling smooth and protected with moisture. It balances, replenishes, and defends. It is a luxurious serum that delivers a boost of antioxidants and hydration, leaving the complexion looking replenished and refreshed. Check it out, ladies! Below is the link if you wish to learn more about it or purchase it without any delay. Search for Vegas Vibes Closet. Follow Vegas Vibes on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram, or check out VegasVibes.us for updates and announcements. Once again, I'm your host, Esmeralda Padilla-Gould. Thank you for watching. Mwah!